working with a client in the e-commerce space. They sell an accessory, and their goal is to build more of an organic community around their brand instead of only relying on ads. It's dangerous to rely 100% of your sales on ads. You're in a much stronger position. You have higher brand equity if you also have that organic community and audience that's paying attention to you. This also applies if you're in the service-based space, because the ultimate answer to this question, how do I attract people to my brand that are interested, that stick around, that want to follow me, is that you need to come back to your brand strategy. I'm going to talk about the things that you need to focus on here in this video to make your brand more attractive, to grow an audience, even if you're just selling widgets or some other physical product. If you're new here, my name is Kaye Putnam. I'm the psychology-driven brand strategist. I've had the honor and privilege of working behind the scenes of thousands of brands through my students and one-on-one services. Let's dive in. So why brand strategy? Essentially, we need to give people something to care about beyond what we're selling. What we are selling might be beautiful, it might be functional, it might do things really, really well, but people aren't going to care about a physical object unless there's a larger story that wraps around the offer, the product. So on the brand strategy level, we're going to talk about 3 things that are crucial to have included in your brand strategy, to be embodied by your brand, and then 3 tactical ways that we can grow a organic audience, particularly for those brands that have been relying on ads up to this point. First thing is you need to have a personality. Yeah, I realize you might be selling shoes or art, but if your brand doesn't feel human, people aren't going to care. Thankfully, I have a fantastic free tool on my website, the Brand Personality Quiz, that can help you identify your top brand archetype. A blend of your top 2 archetypes is exactly what you need to make an emotional connection through the personality of your brand. So maybe you are like strong and tough love and the hero archetype. Or maybe you're helping people discover new curiosities and ways of living as they explore. Maybe you're helping people create control in their lives, like maybe taking an inventory of all of the assets in your home and you sell a software. So you might have the royal archetype, which is very interested in, safeguarding the castle. So take the quiz as your product or as your overarching brand and see which archetype pops up. That is a fantastic starting place because we can start to use that archetype blend that's unique to your business to use emotion-driven language, symbolism, and design choices that are all in alignment with that larger story that you're going to start to tell. Second, important, powerful piece to create this larger narrative around the product that you're selling, around your offer, is to think about the lifestyle, the persona of the person that you're selling to. If you know the identity that your human subscribes to or aspires to, you can speak to those desires and you can start to have conversations that matter. So if somebody is a mother and they really care about climate change and the environment, but still wants to have, say, like small luxuries in their face routine, like we don't have to talk about face lotions each and every post of our marketing plan. We can also start to talk about the eco-friendly process that our products go through to be created. We can start to have off-topic conversations around how people want to give back or what they want to experience of the Earth's natural beauty. You can start to see how if you know who the person is on an identity level, even if the demographics change, identity is what's important. So what do people end the sentence "I am" with? Like, I am an athlete, I am a mother, I am eco-conscious, I am an advocate. Who are your humans so that you can start to have a varied and wider conversation with those humans. And then third, when we're talking about brand strategy, is to identify your unique point of view statements. What, as a brand, do you believe to be true about the world? Not just about your cleaning supplies or your bracelets or whatever you're selling, but what is true for you about the world? If you can bring some of those larger messages, larger themes into the content that you're producing, people naturally want to stick around. They gravitate towards brands that are in alignment with them on a values level. So make sure that you figure out what those values are, what those point of view statements are, so that you can share them freely. Okay, so those are the three most relevant brand strategy foundational elements to figure out. You are going to want to do the work to figure out how specifically you're going to express them. So like what colors, what words, what fonts, what types of content. This is something that I do with my one-on-one clients in our VIP brand intensive. We get all of the gold out of your brain, and then my team helps you create that specificity of standards based on that rock solid strategy. But once you have all of that set, it's time to start thinking about those three tactical ways that you can start to build a community around your brand. First is that you need a platform and you need to start to create content on it. So if you don't yet have a strong presence on one of the social media platforms or some place for your people to engage with your brand, to stick around, to raise their hand and say, hey, I want to be a part of this community, of this audience, of this amazing group of humans, then this whole strategy isn't going to work, right? So pick your poison, whether that is going to be Instagram or a podcast or YouTube or whichever place best fits your skill set for you or your existing team, or best fits your product and that persona that we talked about earlier. So what is that ideal client, that identity? Where are they consuming content? And you can choose that as your platform and then start to produce some of that content. Again, it's going to be this mix between your product and then this larger story that the product fits into, using your personality, the persona and lifestyle of your ideal client, and then the point of view statements. Second is to promote your platform. So you can, if you have an existing list of customers, invite all of them to the party. Ask them to come and join you on wherever your priority platform is. You can also ask new customers whenever they make a purchase to join your community. Finally, if you're already spending money on ads, it does make sense to divert some percentage, maybe not even 50%, but like 5%, 10% of your budget towards this long-term game of building a organic community. It's not going to have immediate results. You're not going to see that direct return on ad spend that you're used to seeing as an e-commerce brand, but it's what sets you up for success well into the future. Even if Facebook changes the game or Google changes the game, you have an asset now as a brand of raving fans and people who love you. And then third step, as you're creating that content, it's a bit of a mindset shift from creating ads, which are focused on direct response. But we now want to start creating content that engages or sparks conversation and then sharing. So if you can add in some viral emotional content to your brand, or if you can create something that is going to spark a debate or a conversation, or just a lot of like, heck yes, you get me types of content, that is going to help your organic content be spread and shared to more and more people, even people who have no idea who you, your brand, and your product are. And that's where the magic starts to happen. If you'd like support around this process, if you have a product that's selling well, but you are relying too heavily for your comfort on the ads to convert, and you'd like to supplement or to tap into some of this long-term strategy of building an organic community around your brand, I would love to help. I will include a link down in my description for how to apply for a one-on-one VIP session with myself and my team. And whether you are an e-com brand, SaaS brand, or something else altogether, I would love to hear what is one of your point of view statements. So if you were to finish the sentence, I believe something about the world, what do you believe as a brand? I can't wait to hear. All right, guys, I will see you next time. If you aren't already, hit the subscribe button if you want to get more videos on building a brand, being an entrepreneur, and everything that goes along with those glorious subjects. I would love to continue this conversation here on YouTube.